Live and we're live. Oh my gosh. All right. The newbies are running the show. Or the noobs.
That's great.
Hello.
I love it.
Welcome. Today is Friday, November 10th, and you're listening to the Daily AI Show live on all channels. And you have the best of the group. I gotta say, we got the best today.
Oh, we're on it. We're on it.
I got it. Gosh, we were on it until I left the music going. Okay. So
Well, that's good.
hello,
That's
everybody. We got Andy, Beth, and Robert today. We're talking about AI enhanced browsers. And if you don't know what that is, you're good thing you tuned in today. And there's two ways that I interpreted that. So the one way was, hey, enhanced browser means like you got Chrome and you want to enhance it with extensions. And there's lots of things. We've talked about extensions before and different tools like that. But the other way we can interpret that is browsers in the context of an AI browser, like a tool that does more than just a Google search is kind of the idea, right, guys?
Well, except Chrome is now an AI browser, right?
Yeah.
Chrome is an AI browser.
Experience adds that, and
Gotcha.
But you have to click on it to add it to the results. It'll give you a little teaser, but definitely click on it. Anything you search in Chrome on Google, click that button and say, yeah, give me the generative experience.
Well, let's go ahead and assume that our viewers do not know what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick and go to something so they know what that means. 2 seconds. As I was actually in Canada this week and I was demoing this same thing, and because I'm in Canada, they know my IP address and they wouldn't give me access. I'm like, I have access. I swear I do. It was so aggravating. But so now I was able to, you know how I got around it? This is very funny. I used my phone's hotspot and it got around it.
Oh.
Because I'm using my data, cellular data, it doesn't know your IP or something. Anyway, so this is my window for my regular Google login, okay? That's interesting. Try AI powered overviews when you search. I didn't see that before. Anyway,
the first thing I just want to interject that's the first time I've seen that appear, but that's because so many people just start to scan the normal layout and they don't see the generative AI inclusion there. So now they're trying to promote it here.
Which is interesting because it's according to an article I read, maybe a little bit dated now, a couple months ago. They said only like 1% of searches have this enabled. So you literally have to go into the search bar and enable it. But if you can't use your corporate login for Google, so you got to use your personal Gmail account, and go into the Beaker, which is Search Labs, and enable all these things. So enable the SGE. I like to do the browsing while browsing, and of course code tips and then sheets. I don't know why, but I just did that. Okay, so you enable all those and you do a search. But you know what? I want to try what this is. It was funny because since Beth is an improv, I'm going to see if this is good. Beth, what do you think? How can I get better at improv, Beth? So just so you know, what happens is now your search.
Take a class.
It starts the search, I guess, above the fold, which is another thing we can argue about. Is right up here. And if I click show more, it's like the whole fold, whatever you call it. It's like really taking up the whole window. It gives you some good opportunities here. Take a class, listen. This is all generated by their, I assume, Llama 2. Am I correct in that assumption? But what I think they're doing is they're taking Llama 2 and they're taking their Google algorithm. They're kind of mixing them together. If they were smart, they would.
And then those that content, is that based on these take lessons, master improv illusionist, these things over to the right?
Yeah. See, so these are, I think it's what, if you click on, let's see, click on one and see what happens. It takes you to the website.
I think that those are primary links, but the summary that the AI generates is probably several pages deep, of the SERP, right? So it's going to do something that's really, really advanced in my view, which is instead of you having to go through the entire, all the way down to the bottom fold of that first page and go on to the next page of SERP, search engine results page, it's going to condense all of that into a compact little summarization and then provide you links to some of the sources.
Okay, but I want to make a point to everybody who's doing marketing or SEO work. I've clicked on all these. It'll show me more about where their references come from. Take lessons, master, and pan something, right? Okay, let's go look at the blue links. We got the first top blue link is Improv Illusionist. Next one, Improv Classic. Next one, Reddit. Next one, Quora. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at nothing except for, I guess, finally got Take Lessons here, and then Masterclass, then Pan. So I've done this before for other searches where it never showed up on the first page, but it showed up in SGE.
Right.
That's a big deal. So what does that mean? I mean, I don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out in the marketing world.
Here's what it is. It's you've got now with SGE in the browser, and Edge has a comparable capability. But in Chrome, we're using Google. You have this now. You have an assistant that's going to not cause you to avoid having to do your own exploration and summary of the results, and instead it's going to provide that to you as a shortcut to understanding what the response is across the web.
Okay, so that was kind of I guess a sidebar that Google and SGE. I just want to throw that in here. But today's episode, we were kind of going into the AI enhanced browsers, and I guess there's three I want to talk about. I want to talk about Poe, I want to talk about Dust, and I want to talk about Perplexity. So and please jump in, either of you, if you want, any of you. There's only three of us. If you want to chat about this. So
also Edge. Edge is an AI enhanced browser, and in fact a little bit more connected because you don't have to turn it on. It's just like embedded. Bing is embedded in Edge. The Bing chat is.
You mean, okay, guys, again, there's another interpretation of the title of our show. Browser, in the sense that Edge is Microsoft's browser and Chrome is Google's browser. So I was okay. Well, at any rate, yes, you're right. So if you use Edge, which is ridiculously not fun to use, if you ask me.
But the reason that I think it's confusing is that in ChatGPT, for example, browser means just anything that's going to go out to the web and pull something back, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean one of the main commercial browsers like Chrome or Edge. So a browser, an AI that is browsing is using the same term as we're talking about when we're talking about Chrome, Edge, and Perplexity, for example.
Right. So let's jump into Perplexity, because this is one of my favorite. But we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that GPTs are getting closer and closer to making some of these less useful. But for a while, Perplexity was getting a lot of ground because it was doing what Google wasn't doing well, right? So Google, it just was trying through SGE to kind of continue to capture that market space, and keep people on that window for a while, because they had the suggestions and what do you call it? Snippets, all the stuff that answers your query, like what's the weather in Spain. So this one I like, and I did one for a demonstration the other day, provide a blog post on the winners of NFL games on November 6th. And obviously November 6th was a Monday, so it wasn't a very robust blog post. I didn't do that right. But so that was kind of fun. But when you try to do a new thread, which is cool about this one, is you can turn on Copilot, which kind of helps you through it. So anybody give me something we can ask it.
Andy, go.
Okay. What are some of the latest developments in AI for education?
Okay. I can't spell, but it doesn't matter, which is funny because every time he misspells something in the keynote, whatever, he went back and fixed it. I'm like, you should have just done it and let it fix it.
Yeah, it'll figure it
out. So this particular time, the Copilot didn't really ask me any additional questions. Sometimes it does, which is kind of fun because it gets more context and helps steer the result. But this one shows you the sources of where you're getting it, so that's great. If you're writing a paper or if you're trying to do an article, you want to make sure you're citing people, not just making crap up. So that's why this particular browser, I guess it is a browser in that sense. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's going out across the web, and it has a full index of the web that it's accessing.
Right. This is a browser that is based in Chrome or Edge or whatever you're using to access the information, but then it literally functions just like a search and return and
Now,
interaction with data.
based on what I'm reading here in the bottom left, this is my free version. It's probably using 3.5,
Right.
because it's not able to access those two, Claude 2 and GPT-4. So, I arguably could be better if we did the paid version. Anybody know how much that cost?
20.
Oh yeah, it's $20 and billed per month. Yeah, I know. I don't know how that's going to play out these days. But for those who are watching, this is a really cool tool for combining search websites and in a really nice format. You can do that with even the new GPT, right? And it does do citations of the links, but this has got a nice format. So
Yeah, you
for
can
what it's
do it
worth.
with ChatGPT now.
Right,
One of
right.
the things that Brian has talked about a lot lately is how much better ChatGPT's innate search feature has gotten and the quality of the links that they're providing.
Yes, that's really good to hear. A sidebar: if anybody was complaining a few days ago about how the ChatGPT wasn't working properly, they found out that it was a DDoS attack from a Russian hacker that was
Mm.
causing it. It wasn't because of Sam's awesome keynote that everybody was saying, "Oh, it's so popular." No, it was a DDoS attack. So, uh, anyway, so any more on Perplexity that we want to share, guys?
I'll just say that
Perplexity.
it's my go-to on the iPhone now. I mean, I have, you know,
Mhm.
I'll sometimes, if I want to do some conversational interaction with, an I will go to ChatGPT. But more often than not, because I'm just, while I'm walking around or doing something, I'm looking for information about something, I'll go to Perplexity first.
Gotcha.
My
Yeah.
my sense of Perplexity is that it's more like research data based. Is that true?
I don't
Like
know.
I can
I
see what
feel
the
like
distinctions are,
Perplexity
yeah.
is like you know, asking your professor versus your best friend. But I could be totally wrong
I
about
would love
that.
that if it
Well,
was the case, honestly.
do this, Beth. Just try doing a search for something about the latest news on
Well, I did
any
that
subject.
for NFL, and
Oh,
Yeah,
it was able to
interesting.
right.
pull it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I want to jump to Poe because Poe had something funny that I was playing around with. Cool Brit, and so what it would do is you would give it a prompt, and it would return it in a British kind of way. Now, why this is cool? This is kind of like GPTs in the sense, right? They're
Right.
Poe allows you to do stuff like this, and kind of like I used it for giving me a really good mid-journey prompt. Is this gonna die? I mean, maybe. I'm not sure if Poe
No.
falls into the category of AI enhanced
No,
browser though.
it-
I don't think it's gonna die, and the more that I talk about GPTs, the more aware I am of how much we're in a bubble. And Poe, Poe and Character.ai have like sort of made their use case for a variety of people, and I don't think they're jumping to now create GPTs that
Yeah.
I don't think those are the same audiences.
Well, it's funny. I would. I don't know. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I've listened to a podcast from the head of whatever they call themselves at OpenAI, but this guy is supposed to be the one that kind of integration guy. I don't know what they call him, but anyway, my point is something he was saying, and they don't quite know how these are going to play out. They don't know their strategy yet for this, but I would suspect that if they're trying to create an online store like Apple, um,
Mhm.
that maybe a lot of these really robust wrapper tools will just migrate so they can monetize themselves through a GPT purchase.
Yeah.
If that is truly how it's going. So Poe might be turned into a GPT Poe if they have some kind of, I don't know, maybe that's not the right example, but it did a good job as you saw. I just wanted a very basic uh I gave it a basic prompt, and it gave me a really robust one, which was kind of fun. So I just said, you know, I want a human applying generative AI tools in their business. So there's a Mid-Journey Poe thing that it shows me exactly this crazy prompt. I mean, Annie Leibovitz and fashion designer Alexander McQueen and all this stuff. Like, I wouldn't know to say that. Anyway,
And
but
you would then
sure.
take that prompt and go over to Mid-Journey and generate an image.
Yeah, that was the point. It does a better job of creating the prompts. Or talking like a Brit, or I don't know what the restaurant ones was.
Yeah. So let me, from my perspective, the create bot function within Poe was out there a long time ago, and it is essentially similar to what a GPT is in OpenAI's ChatGPT environment. Now, this is an important clarification because those of you who aren't like up to this latest news that just came out this week, OpenAI launched GPTs, which is a really facile way to create a bespoke interactive chat bot that you can publish, and it has this guided process of helping you build it. And those things that you just saw Robert showing in Poe are these sort of helpful assistants that have been created by other people that you can then use. That's exactly what you can now build with guidance in the GPT's model of OpenAI's ChatGPT. So confusingly similar. ChatGPT is one thing where you just go back and forth with either GPT 3.5 Turbo or GPT 4 Turbo now in the paid version of OpenAI. Right. That's one model, but the next model is create your own version of that, and it's called a GPT.
Yes.
Not confusing at all.
Not confusing
and just to give context, so Poe's chatbots were very, very cool, and you can do a lot of stuff with them, and you can personalize them, and you can do all of that. That is a golf cart. Totally. Driving you around, really exciting, no problem. GPTs are a Jeep, right? There's a bunch more stuff it can do. It can go in places, it can search the web, it can take in like data and do code interpreter analysis on it.
And functions. If you're good at writing functions, it can do functions and call those.
Do functions. So both of them can get you around the block, right? So they have a bunch of similarity in them, but GPTs have a ton more ability. And so again, like that, I sort of feel like, I mean, there are times where I would prefer a golf cart if I were new coming into this, right? Yeah. Like, I don't want you to let me go more than 15 miles an hour, right? Like, I'm good.
Have either of you ever used a scientific calculator?
Yes.
Yep. So, how helpful is it if you don't know its sine and cosine and tangent, and if you don't know all those terms, you don't know geometry, you know, it's useless. It's like you might as well just use it for 1 + 1 because the true functionality of that.
I've used it. I've used it to like. I know those buttons work. I can multiply and get.
I do arithmetic, not math.
Right, but my point in that is that when this tool came with GPTs and whatnot, if you start day one, I want to learn about AI, and that's where you go, you're going to be given a scientific calculator and asking it, and then you won't be able to know what it can do. So in my opinion, which is why I mentioned this before their session about training new people, is you train them on the basic premises of what is a language model and how can it help you? What is a language model with web search? What is a language model with code analysis? And then once you know what those individual elements are, then you can go to a tool that puts them all together, which is a GPT. So I would encourage people, don't leap at GPTs until you understand the underlying tech. Yeah. All right. So, which is, I was going to show this, but no, I want to show this one though. I'm not sure if you ever heard of this one, dust.tt.
Nope.
I just came across it last week.
I looked at it many months ago, but I don't use it.
Oh gosh, now you're making me out like I'm not up to date with things, as you said many months ago. but I
Well,
just I
Haven't
just,
heard it.
it has
So
been
you're
around.
like,
well, I guess I'm not discovering new Earth, Columbus. So
No, there's
what
too
I'm going.
many out there to know every one of them. Yeah.
I know. I guess
yeah.
that's my problem. Okay. So why I like this one, in case you didn't know, is especially for people who are outside of US or in Canada, you can use GPT and Claude in a limited method, mind you. But it does say here, OpenAI's cost-effective, high throughput model, 128K context. So it has been updated to the new GPT-4 Turbo for whatever reason. And then
'Cause
Claude,
it's
of course, is
cheaper.
100K. So why this is cool is because you can do my favorite thing, provide a great recipe for choke chip. I'm even going to do abbreviations. And it will take both models side by side,
Oh,
and
that's
so you can
awesome.
see
Oh, that's
them,
very
which is
cool.
better. So I like this because at times I'm trying to see which one's better. That's helpful. And if I'm doing a
Well,
big
we have
project,
to
I wanna,
test. We have to test those cookies to know.
yeah. Well, I noticed that. So I'm very attuned to my chocolate chip cookie recipe because I follow this lady on TikTok who did like 40 different recipes and she tested them all side by side. Anyway, so when it does equal amounts regular sugar to brown sugar, that's a key sign. Whereas this one is half cup sugar and 1 cup of light brown sugar. That's gonna make a definitely different cookie. So definitely worth trying the two of these. So
The Daily AI Show, people, where you never know what you're gonna learn.
But soon we're gonna have a companion store where you can order Robert's chocolate chip cookies.
there you go.
That's really
Yeah.
Edible merch.
And then I'm gonna have shirts made that said AI made me do it. So that's a good point. Maybe I should create a GPT for cookies
cookie. There you go.
that
Yeah.
is fed all of my favorite cookie recipes. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to figure that out.
I'll sign up for that one.
All right.
So,
So
what else can we talk about?
part of why we're talking about GPTs so much in this conversation, which is about browsing, is because GPTs makes browsing more directional and partnered, right? So you can set the experience that you want to have with the GPT and enable it to search the web. Right. So
Right.
that's why it keeps coming up in this. Whereas with these other browsing things, you are yourself and needing to represent yourself and then hoping whatever it finds gives you the information. And so the GPT adds a little bit of functionality to that.
Yeah. So browsing and browsers, I want to go back to that distinction. And I'm going to say browsers, let's just talk about the two main browsers out there. It's Chrome and Edge.
Yep.
There are some others, right?
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Chrome, that's the only two. No. What about Safari? What about Firefox?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Brave,
Safari's out there.
Opera.
They're all Apple users, and I am one, but I don't use Safari. I use
I
Chrome.
don't anymore. No.
Same.
Yeah. So, you're right. You have to mention Safari alongside those two. So those are browsers. And what Beth was just saying, Chat GPTs, or I'm sorry, no, don't say chat. GPTs can browse the web. So they are browsable conversational chatbots. That's a different thing. But one of the things that came about when the whole Chat GPT explosion occurred was people were saying, just like Trump would say, they're all talking about it. It's the death of the browser. It's the death of Google. Why? Because you're going to interact directly with a Chat GPT on your phone or a similar Claude, etc. Now, so what I want to say is that I put the title of this particular show as AI in the browser. And in that context, search generative experience in the Chrome browser, meaning you're probably, if you're using Chrome, you're going to use Google as your primary search engine. If you're going to put in a search there, you're going to get AI now right in the browser. You don't have to go buy a subscription to ChatGPT or use an app on your phone. You can just use the browser and you're going to get the benefit of AI. And what I think might be a useful thing here with the few minutes we have remaining is to take a look at Edge. I don't use Edge. I don't even have it on my machine. Do either of you guys
I
have
don't
it?
either.
I do, and I'm ready to share.
Well,
Okay,
Uh,
good. Yeah, so let's see what Edge does. Go ahead.
I don't want to segue, but just because, not that I wasn't listening to you, but this is how easy this is, just so you know. So I decided to do a GPT on that idea that I just had, and I was just typing basically, I want to create a cooking GPT, and it made me the name Cookie Haven and generated a logo. How adorable is that? And then it's asking me for, let's discuss how the role of this GPT and the specific tasks and interactions. How do you want this to operate? So just as a quick little thing, this is super easy. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
No doubt we will be doing shows on GPT.
We'll have to have a whole week of GPTs, honestly.
All right. So this is Edge. And up on the
is this a Bing search?
This is the Edge, and yes, it naturally searches Bing. I said I'd like to know more about multiple persona prompting, where the prompt is basically a panel discussion.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit that. What I'm seeing are the results here, and then this is Bing's summary of that and response.
And you can click on the chat on the top there if you want to.
So Bing is automatically telling me multiple persona prompting is a technique that uses generative AI to create different personas that collaborate on a task, right? So it's giving me this immediately in this search. I also have the search results. I can go to this link on Prompt Hub, or Evan Weinberg. Hi, Evan. Wrote some stuff on LinkedIn. Go read Evan. Forbes has some things about this.
Hey, but go to the top and click on the chat icon. Okay, well, you can do it that way too, I guess.
This is the chat.
Right, but I guess...
and now I can open the chat. So it gave me a bunch of information here about multiple persona prompting. And now I can open a chat with it, and it immediately pulls in. Yeah. And now we can have more questions about it. I can have a back and forth.
Follow-up questions. You can ask for refinement.
So arguably, this is a better experience than Google's SGE. Wouldn't you agree? Because you still had the blue link, so you're not cannibalizing yourself. And you have if you want to talk in a chat, it's on the right here. It's brilliant. But I think what Google's done is this double down on the whole SGE, and they're like taking away all these. They're paid people that paying to be the top. And I love how it underlines with the link of where they got that data.
Yes. Now the data, the sources are not always great, but here I've said, thanks for the information. Can you give me a simple example prompt for this? Sure, I can write you a simple example prompt, and it gives me a prompt, right? So now it's writing this. I can take this into my into ChatGPT or wherever I want to run a prompt. I actually I don't particularly like Edge, but I do like Bing. And to be perfectly honest, if you have a software as a service, or you produce software and your help documentation is subpar, I will ask Bing the answer, and it will go out and it will search and it will bring it back. Now, GPTs are like changing that function, but that I have used Bing probably daily for the last 4 months, just for those kinds of things, informational kind of queries, conversational
queries. Can you get these same features without using Edge? Meaning, can I do this by using Bing within Chrome?
Yes, except Bing limits you to 6. So I have 30 back and forths, or no, I have 30 me asking within an Edge browser. In
it
Chrome,
limits how much you can actually talk to it.
I can ask 6 questions, and then I have to go to a new subject.
That sucks.
Yeah.
They want you to use your
browser. The friction they want to put there to get you over to Edge.
That's Microsoft is going to Microsoft. Like, that's just a true statement. That is their business model and their persona.
All right. Well, I'm
All right, so let's do a Junme TLDR. Anything we want to talk about? Because I'm ending on 30. So let's do it fast. 30 seconds. Oh, yeah, 30 seconds before 31 hits. Go.
If you haven't been playing with browsing and enabling the AI or engaging in the AI where it's available, I suggest you do it.
I'll say AI is going to be seamlessly integrated into almost everything that you already use. There's a lot of inertia to use the things that you're already using rather than to shift over to the new platforms like OpenAI. So yeah, you're going to see AI in the browser.
Yeah. And Apple's doing it too, right? Like you're going to see it in every Apple product you use.
I hope.
Even
and
more.
then we can talk about Alexa. They just said they're going to have Olympus and they're going to have it inside of Alexa. So I mean, I'm sorry, Amazon says they're going to have it inside Alexa with their new language model they're creating.
Yeah.
But my TLDR is everything's meaningless. The world's coming to an end. But let's make sure we get the deck chairs exactly where we want them on the Titanic as we're going to do.
Okay. Happy Aloha Friday, everybody, with that.
And wait, I said I'm not quite good at this. I didn't tee it up right. Okay, here we go. Music.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Ryan will be back Monday.
Gosh. And then, see ya.